First, okay, cool. What's up, everybody? It is June 5th, 2023. It is the Monday community call. We are just about to talk about the batch proofs. Want to talk about that, Dante?
Well, I also wanted to make folks aware, if people weren't aware, that Ethan has joined the team officially.
Oh, yeah.
So we have another member of the team. Yeah, great. Still
Awesome.
growing.
Welcome to the team.
Yeah, I guess Ethan is going to be like owning a lot of the like Solidity integration and like smart contract stack that we're going to be using. So if you have any issues on that end, he is the go-to guy on that front. Ethan, if you want to say anything about yourself, go for it. If not, happy to move on to the rest. Up to you.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll do a quick TLDR on my background. So I got into the crypto space 2021. Early 2021, I was attracted by the crazy price action. That's like a lot of people during that time. I also had the goal of like teaching myself how to code as well. I was like, hey, may as well marry those two interests and pursue blockchain development. And so self-studied the field for like 9 months. Then I ended up getting a position at Dapp University as a content creator and blockchain developer. I produced some full stack YouTube tutorials for his channel for about 3 months. And then after that, I worked for about a year as a freelance developer. And then eventually I ended up working at this project full time. So that's TLDR.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ethan's been churning out a bunch of really exciting work, like already improving on some of the verifiers that are generated as part of like the Halo 2 and like privacy scaling explorations projects. So that's really exciting. Actually, I'm going to put you in touch with some folks there because they're going to be deploying some contracts and they'll probably want to use some of the improvements we've made. So yeah, really, really cool stuff. And yeah, awesome to have you on board. Yeah, so some talking points for today. Yeah, someone raised their hand. I just saw a flash. Eddie? Sorry. Oh. It's all good. So I guess most of the external folks today are the Noia folks, and they had been asking for basically the ability to generate proofs over variable batch sizes of inputs. So prior to this, we were sort of restricted to inputs with like a single element in the batch. And we had sort of enabled the ability to generate proofs over variable batch size, but we hadn't like fully exposed it in the API. And so we've recently done that. So you can now generate proofs over like potentially entire data sets if you wanted to. So what is this useful for? So for example, if you want to prove that you achieve performance on a certain like publicly available data set, you can do that within a single circuit as opposed to like having to run the same proof like 10,000 times or something. You can just generate a single proof for all 10,000 elements, which is pretty neat. Yeah, that should simplify things. I know Noia, like, could you actually, it would be good to like get a view as to how you're going to be using like the variable batch sizes. If you guys want to talk about that briefly.
You wanna go, Adi?
No, go ahead, Pablo.
Okay, so basically the first idea for batch sizing is basically training models quicker for deeper models like LSTMs and things that need basically bigger windows to train in and basically update the wages more quickly. That's the first thing. Other than that, we want to basically have a proof for we have a yield protocol that basically have a back testing, and to prove that back testing altogether to see that the model that we're using in production right now is the same that they were used in the back testing. So the yields must be we can guarantee that the yield is going to be the same, but we can guarantee that the model is going to be the same that produced that result in the past.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so it's basically like proving a certain performance on back tests on over a certain time period or something. Cool. I'd actually be
exactly.
curious if you guys can, like, not to publish the exact things, but if you could send like some performance numbers, like how it scales with like different batch sizes, that would be really cool.
Yeah, sure.
Just yeah, because I think you guys are going to be the first to consume that, so it'd be really cool to get like some performance numbers. Yeah, just to get a sense of like, yeah, because I assume that like for after a certain point it might get really slow. So I'd be curious to see if it's like more effective to like put it all into one circuit or to like start splitting it up. So for example, if you have like a batch size of 10,000, does it make more sense to generate like 10 1,000 size proofs or proofs for like 1,000 elements, or is it more effective to like generate proofs for all 10,000 all at once? So that would be really useful if you guys are able to send over that
Sure.
data, basically. Okay, awesome.
That's good. We also had
something
a
else.
couple of issues. We also had a couple
Yeah,
of issues, but it
go
was
for it.
small issues. One was with the export function that was just like you can do it with an input array, but it was small Python fix in the code. And the other one is we're not really able to export a circuit for a model that we train with new wages. So we can make a proof for a model as is defined, like with aleatory wages. But once we train it in 1,000 iterations, we weren't able to basically export this model to make a proof. I don't know, maybe something that we are doing wrong.
Okay, interesting. So the export function starts to break down, like once it's been trained.
Yeah, exactly. Basically, once you can train, it had some information and some message that basically you can you're not supported at the time. We may be doing something wrong. That's always a possibility, but it seems to be having a problem there.
Okay, I assume it's going to be, so a lot of the values in like onyx.export are hard coded. So I assume it's going to be one of those, which is like misconfigured for trained models. Yeah, we'll definitely take a look at that.
Yeah,
Cool.
fantastic.
Yeah, thanks for flagging that.
Yeah,
awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, so something else that we're gonna that we've been developing, and I spoke to you guys about this, which is like the go for it.
I actually had a clarifying question on the batch proofs. I wanted to ask, are we running inference over and over again per batch, or is it something different where maybe recursion is used?
So for the batch, we're just doing tensor operations over the entire batch. So there's not any for loop or anything.
Yeah.
It's literally like let's say for example you had a 1D input of size n. You now have an input of like size b, or it's like bn, where b would be the batch size, and then all of the operations we've defined. Well, a lot of the work over the past month has been like generalizing operations to arbitrary batch sizes, basically. So it's not restricted to like a vector or anything. So it can like, you can do matrix multiplication over batches, basically, for example. So it's all happening at once.
Wow. So it's kind of like the tensor dimension is the batch size.
Yeah, exactly. The first tensor dimension is the batch size. And then you just do it like, and then it's like shape casting the whole way through, and like, which is pretty handy. But actually, Einsum is really good for this because because a lot of the operations or the way the equations are written out basically take into account batch size. So that was one of the big benefits of having Einsum, is that it like defines how to perform operations over batches like naturally, which is really cool. Yeah, super handy. I was gonna say there's a few projects that were asking for like the hashing of the inputs as matching some sort of pre-committed to value. So it wasn't just the Noya team. There's another project which I am currently working with to integrate like some of the developments that I've made. It's like a sort of zkml marketplace. I'll release more details on that like once the project comes to fruition. But yeah, I think I'll be rolling out updates for that once it's been thoroughly tested, I guess. At the moment, it's like a little bit slow. And I also want to make sure that like the way it's rolled out like matches the requirements of all these different projects. Like, yeah, I think that like in theory, it's nice to have like these sorts of like hash commitments to data or something, but it doesn't necessarily solve the data provenance problem for a lot of projects. And that even if you like pre-commit to data, yeah, there's still a lot you can do to sort of like, it doesn't, you can like create a commitment and then prove that it matches that commitment within the same block, and then you haven't really achieved anything, I guess. So yeah, just want to make sure that it's used in the best way by different projects before we roll it out. And yeah, I'm gonna have a follow-up call with you guys, like the Noia folks, to sort of discuss how you might, or how you're thinking of using this stuff, so we can design it as best as possible for you guys.
Sure.
Yeah,
Happy to.
exactly. Yeah. We are looking forward to talk to you to get some feedbacks on how you're using EZKL as well.
Yeah, awesome. Because I can also like, I'll run you through some of the design specs for the other project as well, so you can get a sense of like, well, yeah, so you can get a sense of like when it might make sense to leverage it, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So I guess on like the more technical updates, that's kind of it for the past week. But we're finally rolling out versioning. If you look at the first version release, it has like 200 or 300 PRs rolled up into it. So this was definitely long overdue.
So on that front, like I'm probably gonna start like versioning stuff. So I got like the versioning script out. So yeah, so basically it will use like this like the conventional commit style. So I think like it should be fine. So if we stick to what we're doing right now, it'll automatically text stuff for you. Yeah, so yeah, I'm like doing like the DevOps stuff for to enable this, and it's just like a pain in the ass to do so, because like the builds take like an hour each time. So I'm like trying. So I do run things in parallel, my own repo, and then like just see what screws up. And yeah, it's like it's not going as smoothly as I thought it would be. So yeah, I deleted like the draft one because like apparently I thought the build would succeed for PyPy, but somehow it's not detecting the files again. So yeah, I hope to be done with this as soon as possible, and yeah, it should be done. So yeah, so what will happen is that internally, like I guess this might be relevant for like Noia. So like the car, like any one of the car contributors will have to then like audit the code and then like select the tag to release. So like this will be manually triggered, so it's not going to be like triggered automatically in case like someone provides a supply chain attack. So I think that's probably like one of the greater concerns, since you guys are going to use it for DeFi. So I'm not sure that David knows of any kind of like supply chain attack possible on GitHub, because I think that has been like an issue for PyPy, which like they froze like the creation of packages because there were indeed like some supply chain happening on PyPy itself. So those are some like attack vector surfaces to be aware of. So yeah, so to kind of circumvent this, I decided to make things like manually like manual releases. So yeah, but it's not 100% foolproof still, but like it should help provide a safe.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, thanks for taking that on. You know, it's not a particularly fun process.
Yeah, it's not. I'm just running things right now. Yeah, it just takes like super long to run. It's just like because it's just really huge, so it just takes a while to run.
Oh yeah, 100%. Are we, yeah, I guess we'll have to run like cross compiles for the Rust binary itself as well. Just
Oh
so,
yeah, so
is that, yeah.
so I'm in the midst of getting that up. So I'm okay. So the process would be I'll get like PyPy bindings up first. Yeah, the only thing right now I think which is not done for the Python one is like for ARM architectures. So there's like a specific interaction with ARM, like EZKL and PyO3 that is preventing the ARM installs from compiling. So there's some kind of weird like linking issues. So if anyone is using let me know, because I have just simply commented that portion out. But it should work for the rest. All the builds like work for like Linux. So muscle Linux works. So if you use the Dockerize EZKL, that should work out of the box. And if you're using like Ubuntu and like Windows or Mac OS, that would work within Python. So I'm gonna get something similar up for Rust too, and that should complete like the release flow. And I hope not to touch this again.
Yeah, I hope so too. Well, there's something else which is interesting, which is that we have the WASI build, which technically should like sort of be cross-platform as well. I don't actually know to what extent there's interest in that, because you take a bit of a performance hit. But yeah, that could be something to include as well. That way it sort of covers architectures that aren't, maybe there'll be some failed compilations for specific architectures, and then the WASI builds will just sort of plug that gap, essentially. And I think they're just about to release like multi-threaded capabilities for WASI, which for a while was just not happening. But I think that's just rolled out, so maybe we'll be able to get like okay, or if not pretty good performance with WASI, which we just haven't been able to so far.
Dante, will WASI cover WASM32 unknown?
No. Different builds.
Yeah.
Different build targets. The WASM32 unknown is mainly used for like interacting with the browser. So if you have like some sort of web application, it's going to send, yeah, it's sort of the interface between the browser and like the WASM bundle that you might include. That's when you use that target generally.
Yeah, I was going to ask, do you think that target, it would be worth adding that target to the compilations as well?
The WASM bundle?
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I mean, potentially. I actually don't have a good sense as to how, because, okay, so as part of the zkml marketplace, we're also going to be adding that bundle into there. Like, that's going to be a big part of it. But I think once we have a better sense of how it like fits into an application, then maybe. But I suspect it's going to be very similar to like the verifier contract, where it's actually part of a larger whole. But yeah, TBD, basically.
Okay.
Yeah, cool. But yeah, something else is that yeah, I'll go back to that after. But yeah, go ahead.
Cool. I was just gonna ask Jseem about the repo that the GitHub tag action repo. I could drop it in the comments. But how exactly do you trigger the different types of releases, like fixes, minor changes, and major changes?
Oh, right. So they follow like the standard conventional commit style. So yeah, you can like I can pass you the list of defaults. It's essentially under like source as like a defaults.t.ds. So that's where like the default values are found. And it's actually what happens is that if you don't provide like a known tag, it will just increment the patch version. Yeah, so every merge into main would trigger would increment, would essentially bump like the version according to like what's that thing called, like the fix thing. Yeah, essentially like the action that's associated with like the commits.
Okay.
Yeah, so if it's between versions, it's like 0.1 or 0.2.0 pre-release or something, plus like some sort of hash attached to the commit. Is that usually the format?
Yeah. I
Okay.
There isn't like a commit associated, so I think it's just incrementing like v0.1 or something.
Okay.
So yeah, if you want to
Gotcha.
launch any kind of breaking changes, like then you would have to put like breaking change within like the footer and like comment like the like whatever changes are going to be made, and it would then increment the major version. So I think like we had done quite a lot of breaking changes without documenting any of those, but it's fine.
Yeah. I swear that will change now. Well, I guess we have to now. Yeah, which is good.
We're gonna get to version 6 in like a couple months.
Yeah,
I think it's fine. All right, but when we squash and merge, right? So I think like under the squash and merge, like you would have to put like the breaking change like under the footer. Like there's an optional comments thing. So I think like you have to associate like add like breaking change there.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'll take a look for sure.
Yeah. But otherwise, like if that doesn't trigger, like you can like override it manually and just tag it as how you want it to go.
All right, awesome. Yeah, speaking of which, yeah, we got rid of the deploy verifier and send proof functions, I guess because they're somewhat useless to applications. So hopefully, I mean, yeah, the poll, it didn't really seem like there was like that much usage of those. So yeah. Hopefully, and I guess a lot of the stuff Ethan's going to be working on are going to be aimed towards like making the deployment of those things much easier.
Yeah.
And like integrating them into applications generally a lot easier. Because I guess as you were saying, Jason, like it's unlikely applications just use them as a like standalone contract. It's basically integrated into like as a call within another contract or something.
Yeah, I guess I'm not too sure about like the like zkml marketplace, but I was like thinking of like launching like a thread on Ethereum magicians regarding like this verifier specs. It might be useful to get like a conversation up, but I think it'd be good to understand like more about like the marketplace once there's information on that. So so if needed be, it might make sense to actually create a kind of ERC specification for zkml verifiers. So right now I think there's no like there's no standard along like the verifier stuff. So you do not know like it would help if we standardize that. So like if you have a verifier contract, like the call data would be like fixed. So it's just like essentially verify a bracket uint256 and then bytes and then like param1 param2 and that particular function call will be part of an interface. And so that's gonna be fixed by every single contract. So you can actually kind of like hard code that values at that point.
Yeah, cool. And there's some other folks potentially to rope into that discussion as well. I guess because we're leveraging the privacy scaling explorations repos, and I know they're kicking off like a zkml like research effort. It might also be good to speak to them. I guess I mean the first point of contact is going to be like, yeah, Ethan. I'll put you in contact with some of the folks that are rolling out contracts within that group. So they'll definitely want the improvements you made.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. And yes, it's like I think like generally like just getting an ERC standard out of this is like tricky because typically most of like the ERC specifications like drafts just die because people just like ghost it. So yeah, it probably need like enough like interest. So yeah, so I guess if, like PSC groups are interested and standardizing this, then it would make sense. Otherwise, it's better off being just like a EZKL specific thing.
Yeah, for sure. I think there might be interest like within the zkml Telegram group more broadly. I think that would be a good place to like cross post, like if the discussion gets started there, because there's a little bit of overlap with like some folks from the Ethereum or ZK community there. That would be pretty valuable. And also, I guess like the Zero Knowledge podcast group, like that Telegram.
Right. Okay. I think like what I'll do is just like create a forum post around this and just get like see who's interested and open for discussion.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, sounds good. I think that's a very good idea. All right. Yeah, I guess we can keep the meeting this week to 30 minutes, but in terms of like what's going to be happening over the next week, so I guess a lot of it is going to be like on my end, at the very least, I'm going to be checking like what the best way to integrate the hashing verification stuff into applications is going to be, and then determining that. I'm going to be spending a lot of time like getting other like folks that are using us, like getting their projects over the line. So just making sure, like for example, that the Noya folks have everything that they need to be able to like make progress. I guess like we're gonna have to double check what's going on with the Python stuff there. And then we've had some inbound requests for some other models as well. So just making sure that those function as expected on my end.
I have a question. This was something I was kind of like starting to look into. I was trying to organize like how we're keeping track of all the inbound and the conversations and everything. So maybe I could just pick your brain on it just to make sure that like if there's a way I can organize all the stuff so it's easy for you to like what is in flight that needs attention or whatever. That might be a good item to. I don't know if you have it you're using now.
No, that would be really good. I guess because the Telegram chats are starting to become a little bit overwhelming. Noya and like Noya, who's on the call now, for example, like most of our interfacing has been on Telegram. It might be good to like, Noya folks, I don't know if you guys would be down for this, but it could be good to move you guys to our Discord, because we can set up a channel specifically for you guys. So that we can like keep everything organized there.
There is one. I could share it.
Yeah, there is one, but we need to like make sure that we start using that basically instead of the Telegram.
Yeah, sure. Why not?
Would that work for you guys?
Sure, no problem.
Cool. And I guess, yeah, David, I guess because like there's going to be varying degrees to which we want to advertise like some of these basically some of these like collaborations, we're probably going to want to like keep most of these things in private for now, unless explicitly given the AOK by the project.
Yeah, makes sense. So yeah, we'll get Noya. Yeah, we'll get Noya moved over to the Discord, and we'll just have a private channel there. And then I'll maybe get your thoughts on some more organizational things around like, just how we're keeping track. Like basically, one way I could be helpful is if I start spending more time with projects like Noya, I can understand their needs better, and then I can kind of be a shield from you or like basically a filter, and then I can like tell you when someone's blocked by something and what we should do. And, if that
awesome, that would be really helpful. Yeah, and I guess for most of the technical stuff, like the best place to interface with projects is still GitHub issues, because I guess it creates a public record of like it surfaces the problem and then the subsequent conversation, and then B, at the very least, it allows it. Yeah, at the very least, if like someone else runs into a similar problem, then there's like some record of it. Cool. Yeah, that was it on my end for this week.
Cool. Yeah, on my end, I'm mostly going to be working on the setup step for WASM, ideally getting multi-values in there, and then also Dante, I was actually looking at these issues. Should we go ahead and remove dynamic lookups for now?
Yeah, probably for now. I think there's two issues open.
Yep. And yeah, also JSeam, I want to know if you need anybody to kind of like pipeline work with for those release builds. I'll definitely help out.
Yeah. So Yeah, so right now I'm getting like the Python binding stuff to work first. And maybe if you want to work on like the rest of bindings and publishing like the text, that would be that would also be helpful. So after like the PyPy stuff, I will get like a separate one for PyEZKL, and then like do like transfer whatever things that we have been doing for the like the notebooks into like PyEZKL. So I think like the next test on my end, like once I can get like this build stats figured out, what would be nice, I think, is to get plotly integrations with like the PyEZKL builds. So this way, for example, if you want to have like visualizations on like the neural net, so I think there's like what's it like 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 a network visualization already, but I think like what would be helpful is to maybe like visualize like maybe like network structure, and also like how like the errors propagate and stuff. Or
Are you
even
talking about something like Netron?
yeah, Netron, yeah, that's the one. So Netron is that is for like the neural nets. I guess if you provide like a ONX file, it would post one. So
Yeah.
and the other option would also to be like visualize like whatever like for example the quantization, like what happens, like whether is there like any kind of changes to like the neural nets and stuff.
Yeah, I guess so. To provide context, the reason that Netron isn't necessarily sufficient in this case is that so we ingest like a specific like graph of computations, and then we simplify it as much as possible. So the resulting computations are different to the original. Well, the resulting output and the sequence of computations should be the same, but the graph itself is likely to be different. So it'd be good to visualize that.
Yeah, I think like on that front, I think would be open to whatever like things to also possibly visualize. So I think that would be like useful for even researchers who might want to use zkml, because it's kind of like a bad way. Oh yeah, I guess another one is like the columns, right? Like so EZKL does something interesting like the column overflow. So I think that might also be interesting to visualize on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I was thinking on the visualization side, it would be pretty cool to kind of point out unsupported operations as well. I think that may be something difficult with Netron, is if I run an EZKL proof, then I can't figure out exactly which operations in my Netron file are unsupported by EZKL right now.
I think
Yeah, that's true too.
I think it's gonna be hard to visualize like the absence of something. So like,
oh yeah.
It will probably just show an error that you can like use that operation.
Well,
yeah, because it's like 100.
The thing is, well, the processed graph of computations just fills those in with an unknown op. So I guess we could just visualize unknown as something different.
Support it. That sounds really cool.
All right.
That could be interesting. Yeah, I guess like once that.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I think the most useful thing, like immediately for us internally, would be the quantization error. Just so we can start collecting metrics on that front. I think that's something that we haven't like focused on sufficiently. Yeah, is probably like the error propagation within networks.
Cool.
Yeah, cool. I guess like with like the Python stuff, like it's in a way kind of like the CR, like it allows you to kind of script like the CRI. So it's kind of possible to populate like a bunch of all these setups. Because I think like we haven't really like run through, apart from like the fuzzing case, like what exactly happens in the quantization error. So I think there's kind of a bad visibility on that. So like I think just assume that like the thing should work.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, baby steps. I'll get the thing to build first.
Yeah, first let's get it to publish to PyPy.
Yeah.
For sure. All right, guys. Anything else to add?
There's WWDC later in about I think it's happening right now.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah. They might be announcing like the headset and like web GPU stuff. Might be interesting to like monitor.
Yeah, that would be really.
What was it that's happening?
WWDC by Apple.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The headset's about to be fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm very curious actually, because yeah, I mean, on a personal note, like it's kind of hard to like collaborate on mathematics, like, or I'd be curious to get like a headset to be able to do that, just to like coalesce around a whiteboard or something.
I tried that. I tried that on like Immerse VR. So I can't remember. Is it Immerse VR or some other app? So like that's a whiteboarding tool, but the problem is that drawing in a 3D space is much harder than it looks.
All right. Well, maybe not then.
Writing in the Oculus is pretty hard.
Yeah, so the problem is also because like there's an error with like the gestures, so everything like turns out weird. So like the only thing that you can draw reliably are like dick pics, like dick butts, which is what people keep drawing in like VR chat.
I was kind of hoping, because it's Apple, there would be like some sort of like cross compatibility with an iPad or something.
You never know. Yeah, the Apple Pencil.
That could be possible.
Yeah, exactly.
I think like what is like kind of rumored is that they might remove like the controller, so it's just purely hand gestures. So that would probably be interesting. But I think like the more relevant stuff for EZKL is that they might be getting web GPU within Safari itself.
Yeah. All right. Let's keep an eye on it. But yeah, if you see that happens, definitely post it in the group.
Okay, sweet.
Cool. All right, everyone.
All right.
Great call today.
All right, guys.
All right, see ya.
Thank you again.
Thank you.